Hello, this is a short introductory video into burning an SD card with the image to operate your Raspberry Pi. It's mostly designed for new users. If you are an experienced user, you may just want to switch off now. However, I know a lot of you have maybe just acquired your Pi, as indeed I have, and want to know a little bit more about setting up the SD card. If you already have a pre-configured SD card, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I found it much more fun to actually burn my own with the different software images that are available. This tutorial concerns downloading the Raspbian image, burning it to your SD card and firing up your Raspberry Pi. So let's begin. The card I will be using for this demonstration is an 8GB class 10 card. You can use lower spec cards of course, but this just happens to be one I've had. One thing I would recommend before you use your card is to format it. This is easily done by going online, finding SD Formatter 4 for Windows, downloading it and unzip it and run it. Then you simply save it to your download folder. And I find that that's a safe thing to do. Once you've got the program up and running, you simply take your SD card and slot it into your reader. I've got an external one here, so you just push the card in, go back to your software, double check that it is the correct drive, and then simply click Format. As soon as you do this, the device will start to format the card, and it takes just a few moments for this to happen. When it's happened, you will get the message back on your screen, memory card format completed. All you have to do then is OK it and then exit. So far so good, but there's one extra stage that we're going to have to complete before we can think about downloading our operating system and burning that image to the SD card. Normally when we transfer files we can just cut and paste, or we can just drag and drop, can't we, and it all works absolutely fine from one media to the next. But in this instance that's not going to work. So what we need to do is download a file called Win32 Disk Imager, and that can be found with a web search. It's a free piece of software, so we need to find and download that software. Once that's in place, we unzip it and we open it, and then we're ready to download the actual operating system, or the distro that we're going to use to operate our Raspberry Pi. When you're finding and downloading the Win32 Disk Imager, it's important that you download the binary edition of it. There are two available, but we need binary. And now just to recap, we've formatted our SD card, and now we've downloaded our Win32 Disk Manager. We're now ready to download our Raspberry distribution, which in our case is going to be Wheezy Raspbian. It's a zip file, so you need to download that, and then we're going to burn it to our SD card, and hopefully we're going to end up with a working Raspberry Pi. The file we need to download is Wheezy Raspbian zip. Go to the Raspberry web page, select Raspbian Wheezy and go to direct download and select that zip file downloaded and unzip it. Then we go to our download manager and we click on Win32 Disk Imager. Once we've done that, we will see down the bottom of that page Win32 Disk Imager application. Click the application file and it will open the Disk Imager dialog box. Click the blue box, it takes you back to the Wheezy Raspbian we've just downloaded and puts it in the image file box. We then have to click the right box, and very soon after we click the right box we will see things start to happen. You'll see the little blue light on the card reader start to flash. And because this is going to take some time, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Once that starts flashing, the file is being written to the SD card using the image manager. Now, as I said, this takes a little while to do, so we're at 13% now. So I'm going to speed it up, and here we're now up to 94%, 95%, 96, 97, 98, 99, and hopefully this is going to work, and 99, 100, and there we are, successful write. So everything is now written. Now for the proof of the pudding. So what I'm going to do now is actually connect my Raspberry Pi, and you see I've got it here in a little rainbow case that gives me some added protection. The card is in the card slot at the back. Just take it out and show you. The card actually fits upside down, so there's the card, and we fit it so that the label side is downwards. I've got my HDMI cable connected to the TV. I've got an external USB hub connected, and of course the power supply. So now we're ready to plug that in and see what happens. Initially the screen is blue, and when I put the power to the Raspberry Pi, it should go black, and there we go. So things are starting to happen. The screen will then boot. This will take a little while to do. Ignore all the code that's going across there, and it does it every time you boot the computer. Eventually that should stop, and once it's stopped we will come to a setup screen. Now this setup screen only occurs the first time you boot the Pi. You can go back to it, of course, once the machine is set up. I'm not going to go through the setup now. All I would say to do is to go to your to the bit that says boot from desktop, because you don't want it to go into the screen every time. So boot from desktop. The machine will then reboot, so we'll see all the reboot material going across the screen again, and after this has happened, hopefully we should see our Raspberry appear on the screen and some of the applications that are downloaded with it. So let's just wait. We've got a blank screen, which is a good sign, and let's hope it happens. I think yes, and there we are. So there's my Raspberry Pi all booted and ready to go. So that's it. One Raspberry Pi working. The SD card configured with the Raspbian distribution, and I have now a working computer. Of course there's lots more you can do with it. This is only the very beginning. But I hope if you're new to the Raspberry Pi, it's given you a little bit of help into configuring the card, and maybe giving you some enthusiasm to carry on exploring the Raspberry Pi. Thanks very much for watching, and maybe next time we'll do multimedia. But thank you and goodbye.